email IDs. Go to your email IDs and download your CV template from Career Labs that you might have got. I can see some of you who have already started working with us on the CVs. I myself have reviewed a few of them. I can see that you guys are already here, so that's great. Now, for some of the others who are new, I really would want you to download the template. Now, you might wonder, which template are you talking about? It's going to be this template right here. Okay, so this is what I'm going to work with today. We're going to do things a little differently today because I want the final output. All right. See, I'll show you the final output right now itself. So give me 1 minute and watch me as I work on screen. For example, I'm going to like save it as, oops. I'm going to save it like, so today CV template, and let me just put like today's date so that I know that I discuss this for you guys at the moment. And then I'm going to just say that like, so this is more so for a demo, for example. Now, at the end of this today's session, right, how should your CV look like? I'll show you right away. And why am I showing you is because I realize that some of you are not good at Word, and that's perfectly okay. I'm going to teach you like how to do it right now. So I have a template here. I just copied the other template and I'm going to use this template rather. Okay. Now, the first thing that you might want to do is go to the review tab, and you might want to understand like how we work with you. So let me make this bigger so that you're seeing my entire screen. We're gonna like work with you. There is a review tab and there's a track changes. So anytime somebody does a change in this document, you will be able to see it. So this is a very important aspect. This is how we communicate with you, basically, right? Like through the changes. So for example, I'm going to change this name to Harry Potter, my favorite. Okay, so maybe not Harry Potter today. Like I'm feeling more like, how should I say, Iron Man. Let's go for Iron Man, for example. I'm going to write it here, as simple as that. So when I do that, you can see that when I put it in the all markup mode, you will see that I cut first and I inserted Iron Man. All right. So some of you may not know this. Whoever knows it is amazing. You guys are awesome, but some of you have never come across this feature. So there's something called as all markup, simple markup, etc. I have a little bit of an older, like I think it is a recent version, but some people can have an older version as well. Okay. Yeah, this one is recent. Sorry. My Windows is only 10. That is old. I have not upgraded to 11 for some reason, but yeah, I don't want it. Like I just hate the look of it. So that's the reason. So this is how you want to do it. All right. Now, very simply, you have to know how to work on comments. So for example, if you want to add a comment, you can go and add a new comment right here. And I'll get like, I am loving this session. Yeah, so I can add anything I want here. And then you guys can also respond back. Okay, so for example, you like this comment. What you can do is you can give a thumbs up to it. So I know that you have read this comment or something. Or else you can respond and say that, okay, so do I, or whatever it is, and so on. Okay. Now, for example, this might seem very silly to some people, but some of you don't know it yet. So that's the thing, right? Now, how can I like, suppose I have now changed this again to Iron Man, and I have like deleted all of these things, let's say that, and we're going to discuss this today. I can go ahead and accept all the changes in the document. So let's say that Iron Man, I don't know where he lives, but yeah, whatever, New York City, for example, with the complete address, etc. Say like 48105. This is where I used to live in Michigan, but yeah, anyway. So let's put this here randomly. You might all wonder like, okay, why is she spending so much time on this? Please note one thing. Readability is a very important part of your CV template. Our CV template doesn't look like all that great at the moment. The reason for that is because it is a content template. Okay, we are more worried about what is it that you're going to share with the admissions committee rather than anything else that you're having. Okay, so coming to this, right, you really would want to, so I have two changes that I've done. So you can see this in the all markup mode. So I have changed Iron Man and then like cut this out and done this. So I can either reject all the changes or accept all the changes and everything else like this. Okay, so I'm just going to accept all the changes and all the changes are accepted. Of course, I can undo and I can get it back and so on. So this is very important for you to know because you'll come and say that, hey, I didn't see my original document. What have you done with my document, right? If you want to see the original document, do not worry. You can go to a simple iron markup or you can go and look at the original like this. Okay, so these features are very cool and you really want to embrace this. The next most important thing, how do I delete it? See, Career Labs and Aspire Higher wanted to keep it here, but you don't want this, right? You don't want the school knowing that you took our services. So what you're going to do, first thing is you can do like a Control Alt and Control A, that is like select all and then delete it. That's it. Okay, as simple as that. So I'm going to show this once more to you all. Just choose all of them and then just delete it. It will go away. One thing is, please open this document in Word. If you're going to open it in Google Docs, etc., it's not going to work. All right. Now, guys, I'm going to jump into the most important category where I see you guys making a lot of like lot of mistakes. Typically, I go the ulta way. I like work on everything else, and I then come to the most important aspect of the professional experience, research experience, etc. But today I'm going to do the workshop in a different way because I have seen that you guys are super smart and you are facing difficulty only with this research section, which I'm going to highlight to you right now. Okay, so there are two sections where most of my students are finding a little bit of difficulty. And let us just, highlight that for a second. Okay. This is the place where most of you all are making mistakes. So today I'm going to tackle that first. Okay, is that okay with you guys? Can I get like a quick thumbs up or whatever, any other reaction that you guys want? Is it okay that I start with the most important aspect of your CV, which is your research experience, your professional experience, any other practical demonstrated ability that you bring to the table? Is it okay? Like we do that? Super, awesome. So I'm getting only like one, no, I'm getting a lot of thumbs up, hopefully, which I'm not seeing, I believe, right now. Okay, yeah, thanks. Thanks, everybody. Yes. Super. So let's go back and let's look at this session here. I am going to be working on this yellow part right now. Now, how should the yellow part look at the end of the day, right? That's what we will work on currently. And let me just redo undo the highlights because we don't want to, we all like understood like what I'm trying to do. So let's do it one step at a time. See, when it comes to professional experience, right? I do have people who are working in multiple places and so on. I do have people who are super. Yeah, I do have people who are working, like, so they have like a lot of work experience, etc. But most of you guys may be students and therefore you'll only have internships at the moment. Okay. Now, what can you do? You can keep it like this and then keep it like this. It's fine. It's okay to keep like a professional experience, put internships, put like your job and like full-time experience and all that, So if you are somebody who's working, you will add like full-time work experience and then you will add this. If you're somebody who's done some kind of part-time work experience, you'll add like this. Okay. But most of you guys might have done internships. So internships, it is for time being. All right. Now, what do I want? So I'm recently hiring somebody as a marketing intern. So I'm going to write a marketing intern. And the company is going to be, the name of the company, wherever it is. So I'm going to take a rough name here. So let's say Intel. Just don't write Intel. Write what is Intel. So it will be Intel India Private Limited or whatever it is in a full form. So for example, Career Labs is not just Career Labs. So it is Career Labs Technologies Private Limited, blah, blah, blah. And then if you're looking at any other, any other company, Samsung or wherever it is, give the full name of the company. So for the time being, I'm going to just call it as like Aspire or Higher, or let's say that ABC company. So let's see ABC private company or private limited or something like this. Now you can also share like where it is located as Bangalore or wherever. Now, guys, this is very important for you to note. We like to have readability, right? So that is where we say you are going to use the same consistency in your what we call as dates. So it is November to say like December. I want you to write it consistently throughout. Now, it is going to be obviously in the same year. So many of you have done it last year. You joined me this year. So it makes sense to think of it like that. Now, you're going to write it in that same manner and use that same thing everywhere. Now, you could have written November 2023. You could have written like November, and then you could have written like, 2023 like this. I don't care what you do, but we need consistency. If you ask us, what do you prefer? We prefer this. Why? Because This is kind of like the norm that is used in the US, elsewhere, and all that, where you guys are mostly trying to apply to. So this is perfectly okay with us, right? Now, what you have to notice is, I'm just going to make this a little bigger for some of you. Super. So what you have to notice here is that please keep the same formatting. Why do we say that? Because see, already this is a content template. And if you're not going to keep the spacing and the formatting and all that, it's going to be really bad on the readability. So that's why we say keep the formatting. And we've done this on purpose because it makes it easy for the reader. And I will tell you about this a little later as well, right? So you can always say this is a software development company or a technology company or whatever it is. And that is working on such and such things. So you can say that working on, maybe it is working on mobile solutions instead of say web applications or something. So tell us like what the company is doing a little bit. Okay, and then you can say with a turnover of so and so, if you know. Now, if you don't know, go to Google and ask. Very simple as that. Every company will be listing down its turnover or something. Of course, startups are a little different. If you do have the number, go look for it online and then write it. You can also write revenues, but turnover is okay. I can always go and find out the turnover on Google. And then you can say like, hey, you know what? I don't know how many employees were there, but I guess approximately there were about 250 employees or whatever. Okay. Now, why am I still putting this is because it's about the size. Example, Aspire Hire versus Google. It's about the size of the company. Google has so many, like 1,25,000 employees. Aspire Hire doesn't have that many. So the question here would be like, what is the company where you worked and how prestigious it is, or what is it, right? Now, here comes the most important bit, which I want you guys to learn. Anything that you write on the resume, especially for a responsibility, would be that it will be always starting with an action word. Example of an action word: I learned, I observed, I studied, then I worked, okay, I designed, developed. All of these are there. So for example, you can say that here I developed a web app. For what? Okay, so for like easy handling of inventory, okay, of the computers or something in the office or something like that. This is such a stupid project. But what are you trying to understand is, tell us what you did and for what? Like, what was the impact on the company? So now I can increase impact by saying that 25,000 companies in the office, right? I can do it by saying that, inventory worth so many terabyte, petabyte, blah, 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 etc. So give us a size of what you've done or what is it that you've done. Now, you could have just gone there and you could just say that observed, the working of the whatever it is, like this department for, I don't know, cybersecurity. And then I did it for like network security and information security, blah, 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 etc. Right? So you are going to write it in this manner. And it always starts with a verb. Don't make a mistake like me. Be very clear about what are the verbs and everything else. It always starts with an action word. Okay? And then it gets like you're going to explain what you did. Now, say for example, you have done a project there. Okay? And this project that you're going to mention here is the same way that you're going to mention a project that you might have done in undergraduate, a project that you might have done in your course project, etc. All right. See, and by the way, you would also want to delete your footer here because they don't want to know that you took it. And you can, of course, keep your page limit. You can also delete like Control All and then delete the whole thing if you want, and so on. Okay, so I'll leave it up to you guys. But yeah, you could also do it to the footer too. So don't forget the footer. Anyway, see, whether it is a course project that you're doing, whether it is a real, like, an undergraduate project you're doing, or whether it is an internship project that you did, or a research project that you did under a professor, or a project that you did for a competition, it does not matter. Any project that you have written would be in the same fashion, like I'm going to tell you. Now, you can write a description about the project. Example, you can say that designed, give me something, guys. Like, do you want to give me like an example, anybody that I can use today? Anyone wants to share an example? Or are you guys scared? Do you want me to go and find out an example? Why not do that? Let's do that. Okay. Let's go do some sleuthing right now, because then I can show you real time how we are actually approaching this problem. Okay. So give me a second while I open a beautiful 1 minute. Okay. Let's see here. I'm going to open a project so that you guys know that I'm legit. And it's true. I'm kidding. You all know I'm legit, hopefully. Let's see. It can be any project in the world. So let's go to Google and help something. So we want to understand a project on, let's say, AI and mangoes. Okay. So, wow, there's a beautiful project here. Like, I'm going to go pick this up. Okay. Why mangoes? You know, it's mango season. We have not been able to get any good mangoes yet, but we hope so, because I think it's not yet, because of the monsoon and blah blah and the everything else and all, right? Now, you guys would have done tons of work like this abstract, yes or no? Or you might have like worked on so many things in the world and all this, right? I'm going to show you right now how to minimize and show the project to somebody, right? Okay, everybody with me so far? Are you guys okay with it? Give me like a quick yes or a thumbs up, please. Okay, thanks. Super. How about the others? Okay. Wait, I think like nice. Excellent. So, see, this is a very good project, honestly, guys, because it can, you all can go eat nice mangoes after this, hopefully. But anyway, let's look at this. I'm just gonna make this a little bigger, and yes, 1 minute. There we go. And remove the chat. Okay. So what are we looking at right now is the fact that we are looking at a long abstract, and I'm sure that you guys also must have done some complicated projects and everything else, right? Now, for God's sake, don't go copy all these things like this and then come here and then don't do this. Let me just share the other one as well. I found a cool feature in Zoom yesterday and I'm so thrilled about it. You can show two things at the same time. Yeah, it's very nice. So I can toggle, and I didn't know that, guys, before. So it's always good to learn a new thing. You couldn't do that in actually Google, right? So don't do this. Okay. I just copied the thing. I came here and put it, and then don't expect us to help you with it. Now, even if you're putting it, for God's sake, put it at least in the same formatting, like how it was. But this is like a worse thing to do. Okay, we don't need this. So I'm going to delete this. This is not needed. So this would be the worst way of like writing it. So when I'm looking at any project, what I want to understand is, hey, what did you do, man? And what was the aim of it? What kind of technology, software, test? How did you do it? Or rather methodology, or what we call as implementation as well. Okay. And then we want to understand, okay, so you did this project. So what? What should I like? What's a big deal about it? What did the project achieve or accomplish or improve here? All right, so that is what we think about. Now, let's go and look at a mango project. Now, in the mango project, which is so cool, isn't it? Oh, where did it go? 1 minute. Ah, there it is. So coming to our mango project here, I'm going to give you like a minute to read this, because what are they saying? See, in fact, for the ease of showing you guys, why don't I do this, because I can. Let me just copy this. I found that there are so many people who have like worked on, many authors are here. You have like 1, 2, 3, 4 authors who are all here. And they have an introduction, methods, and vision, machine for sorting, using neural network to predict and all that. So typically, this is also a good way for you to understand. So what do they do? They are looking at sorting and classification of mangoes based on colors, weight, sizes, shapes, and densities. Very nice. And then they explored the different methods and techniques they wanted to use to study it. They did a vision machine for sorting the mangoes. So they developed something. And then they use neural networks in order to predict the bricks level. So I don't know what is the bricks level. So we're going to go and find it out, hopefully. And then, they had some like experiments and discussions and blah, 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 and all that, right? I don't have access to this particular PDF right now, nor am I worried about it. I'm just going to copy this particular part, and I will show you guys here itself so that I can easily, highlight certain things and remove certain things. Okay. Now, what am I understanding as let me just make it a little, as per the formatting so that it's easy. All right. I'm going to highlight all the things that matter to us right now. So this matters. What is this guy doing? So this matters. And then what about, let's talk about, see, a classification based on is carried out mainly by manual, blah, blah, blah. So this is the context. So I don't really care about it. So this is why they're saying that viewing the problem, it is important to understand. But, it doesn't really tell us. This is what we call as context. Okay. So I'm going to delete, sorry, not delete. I'm going to put like a little bit of it and say that this is the context. So I don't need most of the context. Okay. Now I want to understand, this was done on 3 main species of blah, blah, blah. And in order to find out the mangoes, like the method of classification, etc. Okay. Now this is again what we call as context. So I don't really care about the context. World studies of mango, blah, 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 has not done. Quality is not being resolved. Again, it's talking about this. Now application of image processing, computer vision, blah, blah, blah. In the problem of this one. So then they say the goal is to create a system that can classify. So they're telling this 3 times. So this is again poorly written, to be very honest, but that's okay. Then they say that they are doing this using blah, blah, blah out here. And then they're saying that the system uses the captured image, split the layer. It's again more about implementation. And then they say that the density of mangoes related to maturity and sweetness, and determination to determine the quality of the domestic for this, right? So they're just saying that they've developed the system. We don't know what is the result yet based on the abstract. So which is why this is not a great abstract, to be very honest, but we will work with this. Okay. Now, all you have to do is you have to say like, what did this guy do? They created a system that could classify this, right? They created a system that could classify mangoes in terms of blah, blah, blah. And what do they do on 3 main species, isn't it? And what is the system they created, right? So here I can just write that it was a study was on the, it was conducted on the 3 main parts. Guys, are you with me so far? Are you understanding like what we're trying to do? Anybody having any concerns, or should I back up a little? Are you guys with me? Can you just give me like a quick yes in a chat, please, if you don't mind? Yeah, super. Awesome. Thank you. All right. So, thank you so much. So see, what have we done? What have we now learned? This guy, or sorry, these people, these 4 people were trying to create a sorting and classification of mango. It was conducted on 3 main species, and then they wanted to find out a system, etc. Now, how can I make it even better? See, what system was it? It is a sorting and classification system. So it's not some any random system in the world. Okay, so I can make it even better by saying that these guys created a sorting and classification system to classify, mangoes in terms of colors, blah, blah, blah. And study was conducted on 3 main commercial mango species. Got it? So now, see, there were 4 people who were working on it. Now, what did you do? So let's say that you were the first author. What did you do? So I can say that, you know what? I designed the classification system using this, incorporating this, blah, 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 etc. So for example, if this was my responsibility, okay, so I will say that designed the classification system using image processing and AI, all right? And I can just say including the use of computer vision, etc. Okay. So I can always write it in this way. But now this is very complicated, isn't it? So I can split it and do a better job of it. How can I do a better job? I can say that I I designed an image processing first and then used the CCD cameras, etc. Right? And then I can also say that I also incorporated AI and brought in artificial neural networks, etc., and all that. So I can even split this even further to make it more readable for the person. Okay, so I can also remove it like this. I can then say that I designed the computer vision and artificial neural networks, and I don't know what else he has written, and blah, blah, blah. And I can say that I designed the image processing. And what does the image processing do? It uses the captured manner, blah, 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 etc. Right? Can you see this line? So I can come back here and say that this is what I have done. I uh, designed image processing and what do you call it as software or algorithms for, okay, the capturing the mango image. And then I can do this like this. I can say this. See, what do you guys think? And then of course, and included the use of this, etc. Right? So you use the C cameras and C programming, and of course this. Then I can say that design the computer network and ANN, etc. in order to process the split layers of blah 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 and all that. See, guys, I don't know what they did. I'm not a technical machine learning engineer at the moment, and even if I were, I don't know exactly what these guys did, right? So this is what I am understanding from the abstract at the moment. Now, what would I do? I will write it the way that I developed it right now. Okay. Now, the most important part. So we got the implementation, methodology, etc. The most important part is missing from the study actually, because I think they just developed it and I don't know what they did, right? Because they're just saying that especially determine the density of mangoes related to its maturity and etc. To determine the quality. But I don't know how good it was. So then I will say that, here I have to show that achieved maybe like 97% accuracy or whatever for like, what is it? For determining this or determining the percentage of mango defects. Okay. Or like, etc. like this. Okay, I'm just making it up right now because I don't know what this guy has done. So this is one way of writing it. Another way of writing it is like, see, we need a project title, right? Of course. So what was the project title? Let me just go and check. The project title was Mango Classification System based on artificial machine visions and artificial intelligence. Very nice. And let's go back to our document here. And then we're going to just like, when I do Control V, if this happens, I'm going to use this particular thing and say, keep the text only. Okay, so automatically it comes like this. All right. Now, if I'm in your position, we typically use computer vision, right? So CV is a common term. So that is also one more discrepancy. Honestly, this abstract is not so great, guys. But anyway, so this should be like computer vision, and oops, this part of it can be like computer vision. And then you can like write CV here itself. And then you can write artificial intelligence AI here itself. So that here, when you're using it inside, you can only say that design the CV algorithm or whatever it is. Okay. Software, algorithm, app, anything else that you might have used. And then you are artificial neural networks to process this and so on. Okay. Now, this is a very long title. So I sometimes don't have to write machine classification system using can be like a word and so on. And sometimes you don't have to write all this. And then, of course, you can write like a duration again, which makes more sense. And typically, such projects might be longer, as you know. And you can obviously sometimes, you can even make this as a separate point by itself. Wait a minute, I'm just trying to make this happen. It hates me. Oops. Wait a minute. All right, so how are we doing so far? We got a project from some random abstract from the internet right now. And I'm sure that your projects are all much longer. You must have so many pages and everything else. But this is how we did it. So this can be an internship project that you might have done in a mango company. Who knows? Yeah. So that's simple. That's it. So whenever you're writing a project, you will talk about starting with an action word. And see, this is also very long, right? So then you will minimize it as much as possible. Okay. And there are many other ways that and techniques that we use in order to make it like readable and so on. So I can just make it uh, like smaller, shorter. So I'll say 3 popular instead of saying main, commercial, etc. So you can always like minimize it. We typically recommend you to keep only 1.5 lines to 2 lines per point. Okay. Now I want to like really like bring this home to you all. So what are we saying? This is nothing but this is the goal of the project. What on earth are you doing? Then we worked on what we call as implementation. And why are we showing the implementation? Because we want to show that you are all smart. And we want to show that you all have the technical abilities that are needed for you to get into the master's program. We talked about implementation. We can talk about methodology. Both are kind of same in this particular case here. All right. Then you can obviously talk about the results. Okay. Now, for example, you didn't do anything and you were just like going on and learning some more thing. So then write it as only as a point. For example, you can just say that I studied the what do you call it as the personal biometric um, tracker in the company. Okay. And why did you study it? For for potential threats or something like that. Okay. I'm making up everything here because it's fun. And but anyway, that shows, right? So you can say studied, you can say analyzed. If you want, there are so many words that are more common. As an engineer, what do you guys do? You would have either conducted an experiment, yeah. Now you would have like designed something and developed something, and then you would have like led a team. Okay. And then what do you call it as? You would have like studied, observed. What else? Can you guys give me some other names? Sorry, some other action verbs that you could use possibly? Managed is a very bad verb because what did you manage? We don't know. So manage would be like what we call as a loose word in the sense that I don't know like what is managed. See, I am managing a session now. Okay, I manage my team, I manage my company, I manage my home. So all of that means very different. So manage may not be like a really strong word. So we call it weak or like loose words which are very vague and all that. But led a team to do what, right? So, and of course, can you guys give me some more examples of what can be the, action words that you can possibly use here? Come on, in the chat. Quickly, you can also type it to everybody. Come on. What about some other words? Contributed? Performed. All right, so let me make a list here, okay? Contributed is also very weak. Like, what did you contribute? Instead of, see, if you contributed, now, so you can always say how you contributed. So then it will automatically go to designed, developed, analyzed, okay, etc. Performed is also okay, but performed is more like a performance or, like a doctor performed a surgery. Analyzed, yes, absolutely. We already kind of discussed it. Yes, engineers are supposed to do. What about examined? Examined is like I examined a patient today. That is the way that you might want to do. So it is not necessarily a great thing for an engineer, but and it's not too bad, right? So we are going to talk about what are weak words, right? Weak or like vague. Why are they weak or vague? Is like because see, I could have contributed multiple ways, right? Think more. What about programmed? Will you write programmed? What do you guys think? See, as engineers, there are not too many options. Crafted. Are you crafting a wine for me? Are you crafting what? Crafted is also a little vague, I would say. Okay. Now, if you go to Great ChatGPT, it's going to ask you about, it will be saying streamlined. And then it'll be saying that, what is the other word that I see all the time is orchestrated, unless you are in an orchestra or you're a music major, don't write that. Unless you're literally like a real, what we call it as a music conductor, don't write that. Okay. So made is also made what? Like, made would be like more raw. Made is not weak, but made is like very colloquial. Okay. So sometimes it can also be vague or this one or what we call as colloquial usage, which is not so great. Got it? Yes, good. You guys have sent a little bit, better words. But what about worked on? I will say that I'm working on a CV right now. What do you think? It could be like, if I say I edited a CV, I drafted a CV, I summarized a CV, right? Then you know exactly what am I doing. But if I come and say, you know what, I just like worked on something, I'll be like, what did you work on? Did you just work on making it looking better? Like, so did you go into the CV and make it all like, looking good? You change the font, right? Versus you edited, drafted, paraphrased, summarized, correct? So we are always looking at the action words which tell us exactly what you did. Don't come and bore me. Tell us exactly what you did. Please, for God's sake, don't use any paraphrasing tools here. They're going to just put you in the mess. Okay. Implemented is also okay. Executed is there. Like, see, this could mean two things. Like you were like, I don't know, Henry VIII and you executed your wife. That is also there. But you also executed a program that are also there, right? I mean, why am I making all these jokes is because you need to understand that there are certain usages that you want. Okay. Absolutely. I love a couple things you guys gave. Built. Very simple. Very nice. Synthesize. Excellent. So you could like definitely use this, because if you are like some of you are from biotech field and biochemistry and chemistry and all that, you can use that. And then you could say formulated, because you formulated a procedure, policy, something, and all that, right? So what are you learning from this? Don't write some random action word. Use a word that matters. Okay. All right. So let's move to the next part. So we already know from this great exercise that we did in terms of how to write projects. Now you guys could have multiple projects. And now it doesn't matter. Whatever be the project, whether it is a research project, whether it is an undergraduate project, it follows the same thing. You will have a title. Please like follow the formatting. If it's a team project, then we request you to keep the goals separately. But you know what? Majority of the time, I'm seeing that the goal statement and the first statement are the same. In that case, there's no need to keep the goal statement. And if you guys are confused, then keep it and then send it to us and we'll tell you whether to keep it or not. Okay, so that's not too much of a concern. Now coming to the next part, whether it is an undergraduate project, say undergraduate project is nothing but what some of you guys call as a major project. And in some colleges, you guys call it as a final year project. I don't care what you call it. Whatever it is, you keep it, you just write something. Okay. Now, if you see a common theme in our resume and CV is going to be that we want only 3 or 4 points. Don't give us more. Okay. And we wanted only 1.5 lines. Anything beyond that, nobody is going to bother reading. So let's say, for example, the same mango guy, he did this, like, let's say that he did this experiment using only computer vision. Then he brought in a artificial intelligence project. So then what I can do, I can write as a phase 1 and phase 2. Okay. And then see, for example, I'm just making it up, guys, because anyway we can. So here we're going to keep it as mango classification system using computer vision and AI. So let's say this guy only started with computer vision first. Okay. There are two ways to write it. So here what I can do, I can just put it and then say that, I can say that, design of the CV system. So this CV system, it happened in, so see, 1 minute. Let me just show this to you guys. So I will copy definitely the, oopsie. Okay. I'm just going to delete this. See, these are the action words and all that, so which we are talking about. I'm just going to delete this thread for a while, right? So that it becomes easy to see this. Okay. All right. And I'm also going to remove the highlighting so that it is not bothering any of us. That is, it doesn't bother us, right? Okay. So let's go here. Nice. Now, let's say that this project was a long project and it's like a research project that you guys did. Okay, so in this case, we're gonna like probably put it like this and say that, you know what, this project was a very long, super long project. And it was till December 2004, for example, 24, sorry, over here. So then I first developed what we call as a CV system or the computer vision system. So we developed this first, and so this happened in between December and all that. Then we what do you call it as design of the artificial intelligence system that happened in the month of this one, right? So now whenever you're writing this, the phase 2 will come above. Okay, why? Because the most recent will come above, right? So you will say that in between these 2 months or whatever, I was working on these things. And now, right, between like January 2024 and then it is still ongoing. So I don't know when it's going to get completed. I'm going to draw like this is my undergraduate project or whatever. So here we are like, we can just say that I am, oopsie. I'm just going to copy this for showing you. So I'm just going to say that, hey, look, here we are in the process of designing an, what do you call it as AI system or whatever, using neural networks. See, by the way, as far as I know, ANNs are always caps. I don't know why these guys have not written that, but anyway. So you guys also want to be like very serious about these things. Always use a sentence case or capitalize the word or whatever it is, right? Anything that like, so because I know that these are called ANNs, right? You can always write it like this. Okay. So you can say that I designed this or whatever, and this is not there at the time. Now, I don't have the results yet for this. I'm still working on it. That's okay. That's why you put this, what we call as star, to show that I'm still working on it and it's going to happen. So did you see like how to write an ongoing project and what's coming up? Fine. That's it. That's pretty much it for this. If you know how to write a project, then you're all sorted. Whether it is an undergraduate project, see, I'm going to list down many types of projects that you guys will be having. It will be undergraduate course, research. We have something called as independent study in some of the students, and they have like utilized it. Then we also have what do you call it? Your major and final year project and minor project and mini project. Okay, so I really have this term because there are some people we call it as mini projects, course projects, etc. Now, guys, one more thing. If you have done something in the second year and all that, you can just write, for example, like this. Here, I designed a sensor using this, etc. I performed the stress analysis, okay, and I got the increased efficiency by such and such. That's it. Some project which you have done in the past, which is what we call as a chotu project or a kuti project or whatever, you don't have to write everything like this. You just write 1 or 2 lines about it because it's a small project. Nobody wants to know so much about it. Okay, so just one liner or something is enough for what we call as the course projects. Especially when you see course projects, you will always see this because see, course projects are very small projects that you do in order to learn more about the subject, concept, etc. Got it? Now, coming to some of the critical other questions. If it's a funded project, how do I write? Right? A funded project, no, very nice. You just write it like so. This is my undergraduate project and funded by such and such government of India or whatever it is and all that. Okay. So you can write it in the, oops, sorry. This was supposed to be government, guys. Sorry. So this is government of India and you can write it like that itself. Or you can write it here. See, for example, over here, results achieved this, here you can write the project was funded by, oops, the GOI for like, let's all put like a big number because it's fun, etc. Do you see it? You can add it here. You can add it in the, over here, like, funded, uh, like, project or something like that, or funded by GOI, whoever it is, that is the funding. You can write it like over here, you know, so the funded by this one, it doesn't matter. You can write it in multiple places. Okay. It's a great question. Thanks for asking. What's the difference between course project and undergraduate project? Undergraduate project is typically a semester long project, if not more. Okay. Now, see, oh, that's a very nice question. Thanks for asking that. When we are thinking about it in our heads, right? Like as academic readers and everybody else, any project that you've done beyond a semester is obviously going to be worth a lot more value. These are all what we call our chotu projects, or like, these are typically like what we call as less than 15 hours of work or something. Okay, so yes, you could have still done it over the course of a semester, but these don't take so complicated. See, for example, some of the small lab projects that you might have explored. Okay, so these are also something that you can include, provided it, see, everybody would have done a lab project, so don't come and include that. But write like an extension or something else that you might have done. All right. So in our a semester long project where you might have spent definitely more than about, every week you will be spending about 10 hours. So imagine a semester, 16 weeks, 160 hours, etc. Right? Like, so you can easily say that it's an 80+ hour long project, etc. That one is what will be like very tough ones. Okay. 80+ hours over the entire semester, right? It can be longer. I have so many people who worked on research projects for years together. Okay, that's a good question. So thanks for asking that as well. Excellent. Guys, now I want you to fasten the seat belts. We've been going slow. All of it is super easy. I'm going to show how your final CV will look like. Okay, so I'm going to delete all the things that are not needed right now. So your course project will look like this. And let's say that you don't have an undergraduate project for the time being, you don't know this. Okay, I'm going to delete all this. All of these were like for your own reference at the moment. So I don't need this. Okay. And then we don't need this absolutely. We're going to delete all of this. So we'll keep only research experience and we'll say that we have the course projects probably. And then we say that, you know what, I have this research project and all that. Okay. So in fact, like, why don't we do this? 1 minute. Okay, 1 second. Okay, so in fact, what am I going to do is, let me just make a 1-pager. Okay, so because we worked so hard on this document and I don't want to, in case some of you needs it or whatever. So let's just, oopsie. Okay, so I'm just going to make it a demo 2. And I'll just, for good measure, write a 1-pager or like the actual CV. Okay. And let's see what we're going to do. So this is very simple. Okay. Now I'm going to delete everything, keep the font, keep the things, etc. I'm going to delete all the things that are not needed right now. For God's sake, write your bachelor's degree. Example, Iron Man might have had a BTech in computer science, because he's Iron Man, hopefully. I don't know. Iron Man is from MIT or what? I have to go back and see the Marvel movies. Okay. Does anyone know where Iron Man would have gone? Probably. Is there anything written about it? Yeah, anyway, that's a comment for this one. So write whatever it is that you are studying, your ABC college or wherever you are from. You can write the city. I'm going to choose Chennai today because why not? And then I will have a CGPA. I will be writing when I'm graduating. So that may be June for you guys, and I can write it like this. Okay, of next year. Okay. Now, if you guys are a topper in your class or whatever, you can always write it like this, saying that in the top, I'm going to write in the top, 3rd percentile. Out of how many people? Out of 139 people or 8 people or whatever. Okay, so you can write it like this. Okay, for God's sake, write all the details. Now, most of you might have done CBSE or something else. In that case, you will have percentage. You will not have CGPA. Of course, some of you might have done like other boards. So then you will have like a CGPA as well. That's possible. But wherever possible, write the proper details of when you might have like 21 or 22 or something like that, right? And so on and so forth. So this is what you do. Please use your formatting. Okay. Now, what are the research interests are very important. I and mine might have definitely be interested in artificial intelligence, and of course, and everything else in between. And maybe he is like working on a mask. So image processing. Now see how ugly it looks. Correct? That's why don't keep it like this. Go back and then look at your what we call as making it readable for the person. So capitalize the word and make it less bold. Okay, bold is only used for certain things. It's not for everything in life. Okay, now the coursework that you've taken. So say for example, I'm going to go for the MS in Computer Science program at MIT. Okay, and then for the fall term, oopsie, MIT, and then for the fall term of 2025, write it like that. And then what is the coursework that you have taken that is relevant to that? So here itself, you can say that specializing in AI, ML, whatever, that's so popular. Okay, or whatever it is. You could be manufacturing engineering, industrial engineering, food tech, biotech, microbiology, cell biology. I don't care what it is. Whatever you are specializing, relevant courses to that. So example AI, then I will write like, hey, you know what? I'm good at machine learning. I learned it in my college. I'm good at prob and statistics. Okay. So write all the details and again maintain the, oopsie, maintain the things here. Okay. Professional experience we have already worked on. So we just want to make it a little neater looking, etc., etc. See, I'm just going to make up some random number here, 3, 4, 5 lakh. So if you're writing in lakhs, right? So how to write it? It'll be INR, lakhs in India, and it's a capital L. If you're going to write it in dollars, it's going to be a little different. So keep that in mind and then write it. You typically want this to be only one line. Okay. Now, come to this part is there. So this is all I told you about what to do, etc. So we don't need this. Now, we discussed this, no? So we said that, hey, this is probably like this can be a research experience. Yes, because this looks like a very nice and neat project that someone would have done. And this can be your research project. Okay. Now, if you've done a research project, let's say that, I want to write a line about the research project. Then what should I do? Please maintain the formatting. Go back here, copy this thing, add it here, and then say that, so here you can say that project under this professor from IIT, so Professor B from IIT Madras. I don't know this professor here who's really amazing. And then, and you can just keep it here like this. So you can say that, you can also say that funded project by such and such, by this, etc. Okay. So that you can say, now where will this come? It won't come under the research project, but it will come under this main project title. Okay. Obviously, this can't be like F capital and everything else, it makes it look better. Now we all discussed that we're going to keep like this phase 1, phase 2, right? Remember? So you can always keep it like this, phase 1 and phase 2 of the project. Okay. And always like look at your dates and make sure that the dates are all aligned. Because it really improves the readability, and you guys will see that in a minute. See, readability is the ultimate goal because you want the professor to read your hard work, of like what you're doing. Okay, so you can always write it like this. Be mindful of the spaces and everything else and all that. Okay, so sometimes you can even write like CV and AI because we don't want such long things and all that, but you can always do that as well. Okay, guys, you with me so far? Everybody, anything that's going on, right? Okay, let's close this quickly. So whatever I don't have, I'm just going to delete. That's it. If I have it, I'll keep. If I don't have it, I'm going to delete. So I know that you are thinking about having placeholders. Definitely put placeholders, but you have what we call as a final resume. In your final resume, you are not going to write goal and you're not going to write like, implementation and all. I was just showing that in order to show you guys what it is. Okay. So you see, if this was funded and I've already written about it, I won't write it. Now, if it was funded at this time, but is not funded now, I'll write about it. Got it? So those kind of things. So the formatting will also enable you to make those decisions. So I got one Kuti project, which is my course project that I did, and it is just one liner where I designed a sub like a sensor, blah blah blah. Okay, and all the others we can delete. Okay, now let's say that I have a publication. So the publication will be like this. That's it. So this is how it looks like. So for example, see when I delete it, the bullet point disappeared. So I'm going to bring it back and then delete all of these things. Okay. Now this is just a publication. This is sorry about that. This is just a publication. So we are just going to, keep one publication. If you have many, we're going to keep many. All right. Certification, super simple. I'm going to write like I did Tony Stark, introduction to Tony Stark, academy or something. Okay, so what did we learn there? I don't know. We learned like speaking to Jarvis or something. I'm just making it up today. Don't like take all this seriously, but what we want to know is what is the course you did, which academy gave you this thing, etc. Okay, it can be on a platform because like a Udemy or something is having it. What is the platform or whatever, etc. And then you can write that this is happening on March of 2024 is when I took this course. Very simple. For God's sake, keep only one of it. Some of you are very strong in computer skills, software skills, technical skills. See, the difference is that it depends on which field you're coming from. See, typically, if you're a non-computer engineer, we say computer skills, software skills, etc. And otherwise, we say technical skills, especially for computer engineers. I can have as many categories under this as I want, but I'm going to be like very clear on what it is, right? So I can just write a few things and keep it. Okay, I may not have anything, or if I have something, I keep it, etc. I might know 10 software, then I would write all the 10 software, etc. that I have here. Okay, now what is to be noted is please like keep the what do you call it as the syntax of that particular place. So MySQL, for example, and so on and so forth. Okay, and whatever it is, if you do not have anything to add, then close it. Others are typically you can always write MS Office. You guys can confidently say now that you know Word a little bit because you learned today, and so on. So keep only one of it. So for example, I would term all this under more like software, technical skills, etc. I would put technical skills because this person is going for a computer science program. Extracurriculars and everything is perfect, right? Iron Man, you can always say that saved 10 Afghanis and in the war, blah blah blah. I did this in Afghanistan, blah blah blah, and and so on and so forth, right? So you can always add more details and everything else here. You organize something. If you're doing something, tell us what you've done. Because otherwise, if say for example, I say I'm the president of AGAC. Okay, so what? What did you do as a president of AGAC? Right? I ensured that within the 4 years that I was like within the year I was president and the 3 years I was president elect, I ensured that AGAC had the highest amount of money in its coffers. And we had the three best conferences. And we brought in like admissions directors from about 40 schools. And we had the maximum number of members, and so on and so forth. Okay, I left the organization with its highest profits. So I can always say what I did, where I participated, how many people were there, for what I like, what is it, and so on. So don't just say I got award. Now you got award for what? You got second prize in out of 2 people, or you got second prize out of 2,000 people. Okay, so those are things you have to do. Now this is something which I see people making all the time. So Tamil and Kannada and and Telugu, Malayalam, anything. Write the way that you know. Now you might say read, write, speak. You can put English and Hindi and everything else. Now, if it's a foreign language, you can put it as, see, foreign language means non-Indian language, except English. Obviously, English is one of the official ones. Unfortunately, or fortunately for us, we can put French to the level that you've learned, right? So typically there are levels of A1, B1, A2, etc. German and all, French and German have it. Spanish and etc., etc., and all that. Do not lie on your resume. It's kind of important for you to keep this. Okay. Yeah, that's pretty much all the CV is about. And it took us less than few times. See, I was joking here in the terms of it, but see, please add your complete like street address and everything else. Don't add it like this, right? Whenever you're adding it here, make sure that you're using the capitalization, sorry, the capitalize each of the words and giving us an idea of like which street, what is it, etc. Now you can also add LinkedIn over here, and your LinkedIn profile can be added. You can have your GitHub, you could put your Kaggle, you could put your Behance, you could put your your any other portfolio or your own website. I want you guys to go check this out. If you guys are like keen on helping me out, right? This is a new website that we have developed, wherein I'm helping high school students, and it's really fun. So you can do all the jazz, yeah? So that pretty much is what we're going to do. So now look at how it looks. So it is all complete. So I'm just going to randomly write. So ensure that all of it is complete. You're not going to keep anything unattended or left or something. So suppose I have to like take a printout and send it to somebody, I should be in a position to send it to somebody. Okay, so that's how you're going to keep it. So just in order to do that, right, organize, like, let's say that two, what do you call it, as drone drops or something. I'm just going to randomly do it here. Okay, and then I will say that March of 2024 and then April of 2023 and blah, blah. So let's say that I have only one achievement over here, or maybe like I got the, let's say that, most annoying Avenger award. Okay. Among how many Avengers were there? Do you guys remember? Anybody who's a fan of Marvel? No? Nobody's a fan? How many Avengers were there? Nobody? All right. I don't remember exactly. I used to be a Marvel fan. I don't know how many are there. So around seven, maybe? Whatever. So, and then we can say that this was an event, blah, blah, blah. And the hosting organization is Avengers. And then we can add all these things. Okay, and then of course we have the part that is needed. Okay, suppose the most oldest will be the last and the most recent will be here. And this is something like you can like keep in mind. Okay, that's it. So when you're now publishing, this is how it looks like, the final CV. You're not going to have some random stuff and you're not going to say the methodology and so on. In fact, what I recommend is you guys will see the difference that a layout can make. Right now, see, the layout is not in the custom margins. But if I make it narrow, it will become even better for people to read and come within one line and everything else and all that. Right? So we highly recommend you to use like narrow margins if you want. It's an easy way for you to like figure out. And but if you're going to do that, no, so make sure that all of it is aligned to the right side. So you want this to be at the rightmost place. Okay, and that's pretty much it, guys. So our workshop is coming to an end. And see, guys, all your profile building in the world is nothing but working on research projects and course projects and all the other thousand things. You all know what's important because you all know how important the CGPA is. You all know like how your particular ability in certain courses that you might have taken would matter, right? So here I would write only 4 relevant courses. Don't write everything in the world. They will go through your transcripts thoroughly like so many times. Okay. So anyway, so we'll write another XYZ course here. And so we saw that how, now let's look at it in a little this manner. And you know what? I'm going to do like some magic right now and not really. I'm just going to use the software here and I'm just going to delete all the comments in the document. Or I can always delete this all comments. So I can do that very quickly. And you know what? I'm going to go back and then accept all the changes in the document. Right? And now see how it looks. It doesn't look too bad. So this is how your final resume might look if you don't have too many things. And that's exactly why we tell you to do the many things that are needed. See, out of all the things that you can do for yourself, the thing that will move the needle for you will be 100% CGPA, 100% the research experience, internship experience, and everything else, the publication that you get. Certification, not so much at this point, because we need demonstrated ability. Certification is okay to say that I have 5 certifications, but it's nothing. And of course, awards. See, when no one is going to give you an award right now or something, right? That's where the most important aspect where you have full control is going to be the areas that I'm highlighting. And I'll just zoom in a little bit more. Okay, so if you ask me profile building, that's all it is. All right, so work towards it. Go back today and look at your CV and do it. So here's a very nice question. Can I include only electives here? You can, but it has to be relevant to the course. It has to be relevant to the course. That's why you're showing coursework taken. If you have doubt, come to us. Okay. While you guys are working on your application, we will 100% revisit the CV again and see what you're going on. Okay. Excellent. So with that, I'm ready to say bye now. But how are we doing and what has been the learning? Can everyone put your learning quickly? Today we spent a lot of time on the projects because that's where we needed work. Guys, like see, I do have many other webinars on the portal, the lms.thecareerlabs.com. Go and watch those workshops. Those CV workshops are done differently. Today's workshop is done differently. That is where you might want to see. But we do this, differently because what's the fun in telling you the same thing again, right? Any number of recommended pages. See, typically my students have around 2 to 3 pages of CV. I've had one guy who had 22 pages, but he was applying for a PhD. It was really fun working with that person. 23 pages. Can you guys guess like the number of publications he had? He had about literally like 6 pages worth of publications alone. It was crazy working with him, in the sense that working on the CV. Of course, he was amazing, but crazy working on it. So yeah, the number of recommended pages, it doesn't matter. 2 to 3 is what we recommend. And sometimes, you see, if you don't have too much to write about a project, don't go dragging it. Example, sentiment analysis, using a Twitter feed, etc. Everybody knows about that. Okay. All right. Excellent. So, what other questions that you have today? Anything else that you think would help you as you move along in the journey? Guys, thank you so much for coming to such sessions because it is our endeavor to help you through the process by always keeping you posted on what's most important. So that's why we have and host these kind of sessions and we keep like talking to you. So we know that you might have a lot of doubts, which is why I 100% recommend you to please go to lms.thecareerlabs.com and first do a little bit of self-directed search on the portal. Okay. Is the address necessary or optional? Let's keep it. We request you to keep it mainly because it is an easy read for somebody and it's okay to keep it. And one more thing I'll have to tell you. After my students work with me like this on the CV, later on they go and do multiple things with it. So they can put it on a LaTeX format, they can put it in another word processing software, etc., and so on. So they work on multiple things later on. So I'm not particular about a format, but I am definitely particular about content. Okay. See, what do we mean by content is you need to know what the person has done. See, we took a random abstract today, right? And we did this. We need to know what this guy has done and how they have progressed, what else about the project, etc. Right? So that is more important. See, guys, like when I'm talking about LMS, right? It is this LMS. Let me just show, lest you think it is something else. Let's open it. Okay, this is the LMS that I'm talking about. 1 minute. You are going to go to lms.thecareerlabs.com, okay? And you will log in using your Google ID. So I'm going to do the same here so that you can see this. So I'm just going to use the Google ID, which is already like here and present. And once I go, I'm going to see as an admin, I see multiple things. Oops, sorry, I pressed the wrong button. Okay, so when I go into this particular portal, I have many courses, obviously. So you could be MIM, TTM, whatever. So you guys are going into the TTM, which is Technical and Techno-Managerial Masters, and you will see all the things here. So today's webinar that I'm talking about was already there multiple times, done multiple times in terms of, see what projects you have to go, and then how to draft a CV, it was done already. So this is a very different webinar. Okay, so for example, I would have used something else in order to show this to you. And right now, in interest of time, let's not open it and see. Yeah, so we will just go back here. So I would have done that. I would have also told you how to draft a CV here. Now I can also tell you about like the live recordings before. So we had like the previous live workshop as well, and we have done it now as well, and so on, isn't it? So we have multiple tools for you. So please go and access that. We have like, because see, I cannot tell you the same information like this every single time, right? You need to know multiple things about it and you'll have to figure out a lot of things for yourself. So, for example, if you want to understand how to research about an industry that you're going to go and learn your career goals, this is very important. All right. So, when we talk about a LMS, we're talking about this. Of course, there is a GRE wala LMS that is different. Yeah. And I hope that you guys are working on your GRE. Yeah. Absolutely critical at this point of time, everybody. So do not let that go. Okay. Oops. Was it not being shown? Yeah, it is being shown. Right. Okay. So that's what I mean by the portal. So the portal is pretty much everything that you need and gearing up for admin, like applications, getting the portals, etc. Like sorry, the LORs, etc., etc. All right. If you are in a hurry, we already have the complete journey for you. Please go ahead and check it out. Okay. But if you're not in a hurry, don't worry because, oh, that rhymed. If you're not in a hurry, we're going to be coming every month like this to offer different focus on the month webinars. In case you miss April, April is already done. So we'll be back in May. All right. So it's our endeavor to keep in touch with you through these sessions. And of course, you have to go back and check a few things. See, we definitely understand that, yeah, you might have something very specific to you. That is why we have the specific reviews and everything else happening. However, for some of the content, we highly recommend that you please go and watch the webinars and utilize the resources. Okay, and this is not the only thing in the world. There are many other things that are available, other portals that are available. The websites are a beautiful source, you know. I love going to MIT website in order to just, you know, computer science especially, in order to see what are the advancements that they're having. I love to go do that. I love to go to University of Michigan and follow my own mechanical department and automotive engineering, control systems, etc. You have to go and look at other things also in the world, right? But why do we say this is because anything and everything that you want to do with respect to your application, all of the information is available in one place. Now, see, you have thousands of sites. So, for example, I want to understand the MIT MS and CS deadline, okay, or a requirement. There are thousands of things on the Google and everywhere else of the world, right? So you don't have to like what do you call it as resort to only coming here and checking. But when it comes to dealing with your application in a right manner, we highly recommend that you please refer to this and get your doubts cleared. Okay. With that, thanks everybody. I had fun today, and it was an amazing session to talk to you all and answer some of the questions you had. I hope that you share the modified resume with us. And until I see you next time, happy learning and happy studying with the GRE. Bye.